Preview.
Okay, young Austin, the champ, Dak Street Boys, it's your turn now, buddy. I'm guessing you didn't really like your grade from Yahoo, did you? They give you a C.
I think it was a little harsh, but I think while the draft wasn't my favorite, I certainly think I was able to make up for it in the later rounds. And overall, I think my team's pretty solid. Doesn't have quite the names that it did last year, but then again, it's not always about that because, like I said before, Devontae Parker did end up pretty much winning me the championship, and I picked him up off of waivers. So
very true. I'll give you my grade. You ready?
Yeah.
I think this is a B- grade, not the grade that Yahoo gave you. But the only reason I asked that is I got two questions.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Jacobs is your first pick.
Mm-hmm.
And what is Stephon Diggs going to do? Granted, that's a fifth-round pick, but that's why I'm giving you a B-. So tell me, champ, what you think you deserved and why.
I would say just a flat B would suffice.
A B flat?
A B flat, yep.
Mm-hmm. That's a B flat.
I think so. Josh Jacobs, the first pick. Obviously, there was a massive run at running backs. I don't think people understand how good Josh Jacobs is going to be this year. He was the workhorse in Oakland last year, and everything coming out of camp this year has just indicated that he is going to take on a bigger role in the offense, catching the ball more out of the backfield. I think Coach Gruden and the coaching staff there in Las Vegas realize the asset that he is running the ball, so they're going to try and continue to give him more touches. And I mean, so there's a beat writer for the Cowboys that also covers the Raiders. So I see his reports as often as I do as the Cowboys, and I kind of poke in and read them. So yeah. Josh Jacobs is primed to have a really big season this year, barring he doesn't get hurt again. So I think he's going to be a surprise for most. David Johnson, obviously the injury concerns. So he performed pretty well last night.
Yep.
Granted, the Texans did end up being down by, like 30 points or whatever, so they had to throw the ball a little bit more. But he does bring some added threat catching the ball. He looked pretty crisp on that 19-yard touchdown run. So it looks like he's primed for a big year. I think with DeAndre Hopkins gone in Houston, I'm hoping that he begins to rely on David Johnson, and David Johnson is able to stay healthy and show that he's a reliable safety net, if you will.
Well, and Brandon Cooks. I knew this from the very beginning. Everyone thought Will Fuller was going to get more of a role, but I think Brandon Cooks is going to be Deshaun Watson's crutch there, and that was a very good pick. And you showed that last night. He threw it to Cooks quite often.
Well, I think he threw to Fuller more, but I think there's just more chemistry there. And I saw that Brandon Cooks hadn't had the preseason he probably wanted. A little banged up. They held him out a little bit, so he doesn't quite have that chemistry. So
I was drunk last night. I don't remember anything. So
nice. I'm thinking that the Brandon Cooks pick will pay off a little more as we go through the season. He's going to get that chemistry. I was just shocked that the Chiefs defense, the corners in particular, especially after losing a starter last night, they were able to just lock down the receivers for the Texans, Cooks and Fuller being 4.3 speed guys. I mean, they couldn't get any separation. So a little bit surprising, but yeah, I think Brandon Cooks will pan out really nicely. Stephon Diggs, obviously Josh Allen, his accuracy has always been in question, but I mean, I said it in the draft and I'll say it again. Stephon Diggs is probably going to be the first receiver that he's had over 6 foot in the past 2 years.
Yep.
And that's not a lie. I'm almost positive that is the case. So Stephon Diggs is a beautiful route runner and natural separator. So I think it's going to make it easier for Josh Allen to throw the football to him. And he can make that. He can go up and get it if he needs to. But I think the problem with Allen is, anticipating windows and throwing receivers open might not be where he's at right now. So Stephon Diggs being able to make that natural separation just makes the throw a little bit easier for Josh Allen. And if Stephon Diggs is able to pan out, hopefully the offense in Buffalo kind of picks up with him involved. So that's what I'm thinking there. I like Diggs being the number one guy there and being a natural separator and a smooth route runner to help him out. So, I mean, my receivers with Chris Godwin and Stephon Diggs, that's kind of the thinking there. Obviously, I took Zach Ertz again kind of early after I saw, that Kelsey had been picked up and Kittle had been picked up. So I was on the fence between Mark Andrews and Zach Ertz. I took Ertz just because I know his role in the offense, despite Dallas Goedert being there. Whether Ertz is an Eagle next year, I don't know, but I still think Wentz is going to look to Ertz a lot. So, I'm pretty happy with my tight end. And also Mike Gesicki in the 17th. He came on late last year, kind of in tandem with Devontae Parker. So I think I have a solid pickup as a backup or maybe more. And as you can see, I kind of went depth heavy in the receiving core with a lot of potential, right? So CeeDee Lamb is a rookie, arguably a top 5 talent that dropped all the way to 17 for the Cowboys. Obviously, I'm very plugged in with CeeDee Lamb's progress, and in all indications that he's going to be very, very, very good. So Amari Cooper, while he practiced, has been a little bit sidelined with some stuff. So I'm thinking CeeDee Lamb's going to have a big year. I mean, all the receivers have the potential there. Tarek Cohen, I think, is mainly a stopgap just to see, obviously, David Montgomery out with the Bears. I'm hoping they utilize him a little bit more because he is quite talented. And then, I mean, defensively, just top 5 guys in sacks or tackles. And I'm excited to see what Isaiah Simmons does. He's just
Patrick Queen.
And Patrick Queen. I mean, just the pedigree of an athletic, downhill, thumping linebacker in the hands of the Ravens. Obviously Ray Lewis, and then CJ Mosley before he left. So now they have Patrick Queen. So I'm pretty excited to see what he does there. I think he's going to be the starting Mike linebacker for them, in a pretty solid defense. So I mean, as the draft developed, I think I felt really, really good about it. I will mention, so I dropped Ito Smith and I picked up Brian Edwards, the receiver for Oakland. No, I think I already had him. I drafted him, or did I not?
You drafted Brian Edwards. No, you didn't.
No, I did. So I picked him up off the waiver wire.
Yeah.
And that's an important pickup for me just because Tyro Williams is out on IR this year, I believe. He had a pretty solid performance before getting hurt last year. Mm-hmm. And along with Henry Ruggs III, the best kept secret on the Raiders is Brian Edwards. So I'm hoping that he pans out really well. I've heard that he's been doing really, really well. And like I said, kind of the best kept secret on the Raiders. So hoping another waiver wire receiver pans out for me. But I think defensively feel really solid. I have a lot of potential at wide receiver. So I can mix and match. Obviously, Chris Godwin and Stephon Diggs, if they don't pan out, I still feel comfortable in the receiving section just because I have, whether it's CeeDee Lamb, high potential, or like a Brandon Cooks and Emmanuel Sanders, Deshaun Watson and Drew Brees being their quarterbacks and them being able to get open, helps. And then Justin Jefferson just being a guy that I think will develop into something. So I felt pretty good about my draft after it started to fall. I was a little nervous watching some of the big, the reliable names get taken before I was up. I do miss that 6th spot in the draft. It was a very nice spot because you don't have to overextend on certain positions and try and predict runs on players. But after the draft concluded, I felt pretty good. I would say a B for me for sure.
Okay. B flat, right around there. And lots of Raiders love, which Dave Plow is going to love. Speaking of David Plow, we're going to review the new World O'Creaky real quick. By the way, my son's about to wake up from a nap, and we're well past the 30-minute mark. So we'll get going here. This was a good start for Plow. He was given a B by Yahoo. And right off the bat, I liked his first 3 picks: Tyreek Hill, Patrick Mahomes, Jonathan Taylor. Maybe a little bit too early for Jonathan Taylor because it is kind of a little risky drafting a rookie running back as good as he is supposed to be, but he's still not the bell cow there. Marlon Mack is going to get his touches. And then maybe DK Metcalf a little bit high at the 6th pick. So I'm going to go down a little bit for Plow. I give him a B-, but having that Tyreek Hill, Patrick Mahomes combo, it's really going to pay off who I also play this week, and they did not hit their projected stats. So we'll see what happens. But what do you think, given Plow's roster a quick look over, What do you give him?
I would say I agree with either a B- or a C+. And I say C+ because of his running back spot, right?
Yep.
So Jonathan Taylor was on my radar as well, but I mean, I
Le'Veon
think,
Bell?
uh, yeah, we'll get to him in a sec. So Jonathan Taylor, obviously, I was excited about that pick for the Colts. I think he can be the running back that they're looking for with the type of football they're looking to play here in Indy. But obviously it's Marlon Mack's job and he hasn't lost it. So you're relying on Jonathan Taylor, who is not the starter in Indy, to produce at a starting caliber for fantasy. So now, do I think that Jonathan Taylor could potentially overtake Marlon Mack, especially with Marlon Mack's injury history? Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's a possibility. But right now at the onset, I like the pick, but as it stands right now, I just don't know where the value is until the season starts to progress. Le'Veon Bell, I mean, talented player, yes. One thing is I hate Adam Gase. I don't think he's a good coach. And so basically anyone under Adam Gase is going to get worse. And I think Le'Veon Bell is in a really tough situation with the Jets. They're obviously not well put together. I still don't think they have any receiving cast around Sam Darnold, who I was high on personally when he came out. So I think they're doing more harm than good to him.
Yeah.
Now, Le'Veon Bell was supposed to help with that, but a little banged up, not as effective as most would think. Obviously, the Jets' offensive line, not quite what he was used to in Pittsburgh. So again, I just don't know. I think Le'Veon Bell will get his touches. I don't know if he's going to still be that receiving threat as much because the Jets really don't have much else. I do like CJ Herndon for them as the tight end spot. He had some chemistry going with Darnold, but I don't know. I think Le'Veon Bell's a big question mark. Obviously, he's not the same guy that we've been used to seeing. So with two question marks there, and then looking at the other running backs on the roster, which is just Kerryon Johnson and Latavius Murray. You got Kerryon Johnson, the incumbent starter in Detroit, who has been banged up. They have DeAndre Swift. They now have AP. How long does he hold his job? I don't know. Tevin Coleman, again, Raheem Mostert is apparently going to be the guy. Can Tevin Coleman still steal touches and touchdowns? You just don't know. Latavius Murray, the same thing. Originally with the Kamara situation, maybe there's some static there, and Kamara's out, or they don't favor him as much. Now all indications, it's all smoothed over. He's going to sign a nice big extension, so we're all good there. So Latavius Murray did get some touches, but again, it's not the starting caliber you're looking for. So his running back position for me, not great. But what he makes up for, he's got the stack of Tyreek Hill, Patrick Mahomes. Obviously, they didn't pop off quite as well as they usually do last night, but I don't think they really needed to. Patrick Mahomes still had 3 touchdown passes. Tyreek Hill still had 1 touchdown catch, so I would not worry there. I like the Darren Waller pick. I think obviously he showed a lot in Oakland last year, and he is going to continue to be a threat and a comfort for Derek Carr. In Oakland. DK Metcalf and Michael Gallup. So I think Michael Gallup is going to be a consistent player this year for the Cowboys. I really do think they have a chance to have 3 1,000-yard receivers in Cooper, Gallup, and Lamb. So a solid pick up there. And DK Metcalf, I think as he continues to develop his route tree and his chemistry with Russell Wilson, that's going to continue to be a good partnership. So I don't mind that pick in the 6th round. I think receivers a good strength for this team. Running back is the clear weakness in my mind. It absolutely sucks that Danielle Hunter is out for the interim. I think he's on IR right now, short-term IR. So I know he was a sack/tackle leader. He was the best defensive lineman available. Obviously, a rich pick in the 8th round for him. He won't be playing for a while. Outside of that, defensively, looks pretty good. I really like the Preston Williams pick as well for Miami. He was doing really, really well in Miami before he tore his ACL. So whether or not that affects the value for Devontae Parker, I don't know, but that's a solid pickup. And then I think Blake Jarwin has a chance to be a breakout player. Whether or not that comes to fruition, I don't know, but we'll just have to see on that. But I think it's a solid, stash pick, especially with a guy like Darren Waller leading the charge for you. So I would say just because the running back position is such a vital part of a team, and you really want to see that normal consistency, which I don't see on this team, that's why I'm going to give it a C+.
Gotcha. All right, moving on to the runner-up last year, who you beat, who was also the two-time back-to-back champion, Abalash Reddy, Lamb of Godwin. He got a B, according to Yahoo. I'm actually going to go down on this one. I'm looking at Abby's roster. I think it's a C+. I've been wrong before, but I'm looking there, and I tell you what, I see some names, but I don't see the value that he's had in the past on his rosters. I see a C+ team that might squeak in at the 5th or 6th spot in the playoffs. Tell me why I'm wrong, or what do you think, Austin?
I think I agree with you here. And it's the similar situation to the last team. The running back consistency is my biggest question mark on this team. Joe Mixon, obviously, he just signed a big extension with Cincinnati. He's got Joe Burrow. He's got a new head coach, so that's the potential to do well. And he had some solid output, but he has been also very inconsistent as well. So, again, what I like in a running back is when I start him, I know I'm getting 15 plus, hands down. Like, there's no discussion, there's no debate about it. Obviously that's why the running backs go so fast and so high, is because you're going to get that staple of points. So obviously the first pick in the 11th, a lot of running backs are gone. So Joe Mixon, talented player, we'll just have to see about that. And then we move down to Devin Singletary. Buffalo also has Zach Moss, a good rookie from Utah, I think we mentioned earlier, on another team. So how much does Devin Singletary play? Does Zach Moss cut into those touches? I don't know. Sony Michel is in a running back room of 20 running backs in New England at this point? I don't know. He's been hurt and banged up as well. I mean, who knows who's getting the bell cow carries in New England? Inconsistency there. Philip Lindsay, there's a Melvin Gordon now to account for in Denver. I mean, the running back position just gives me a lot of question marks here on this team. But what makes up for it is a really strong wide receiver core in DeAndre Hopkins, which I'm excited to see Kyler play with, and Juju Smith-Schuster with Big Ben back in the fold. And apparently he looks pretty good, so we'll have to see about that. Maybe he lost 5 pounds and he's down to 295 now. Who knows? Amari Cooper, Dak Prescott, obviously we saw the value in Dak Prescott last year. His offensive coordinator returns. He's got more weapons and a head coach that actually knows how to function a football team. So Amari Cooper and Dak Prescott could be the beneficiary here. Again, just knowing Amari Cooper has been a little bit banged up to start, but I still really like that trio of receivers there. And then Evan Ingram, I think he'll be good for the first 2 games that he plays in, but then what, Austin Hooper is a talented player. Cleveland has a lot of targets though. And I think David Njoku, he's still there, right?
Yeah.
So he's going to compete for touches with David Njoku, Odell Beckham Jr., Jarvis Landry, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, all these talented, ball carriers. So whether or not Evan Ingram can stay healthy is going to be a really big indication at tight end. I think the strength here is wide receiver. Really like everything. Mike Williams, Sammy Watkins had a great game last night. So if he continues that, hopefully it's not like last year where he scored 3 touchdowns in the first game of the season and he didn't show up till the Super Bowl. So we'll have to see that. But I do like the depth at wide receiver that you can obviously mix and match in the flex position. Defensively looks pretty strong. Fred Warner was actually the top 5 linebacker that Neston and I were discussing that was still available, and he got scooped up before either of us picked. I like the Chandler Jones pick. He's been really consistent down in Arizona. Malik Hooker, if he can stay healthy, I do like that. But Chris Jones had a monster game last night. He picked him up in his last pick.
That was the last pick, yeah.
But yeah, I think running back's going to be my question mark on this team, and just like the last team, is the reason why I think it goes to a C+. But again, the receiving core is really, really strong here.
Yeah, agreed. All right, last one here. We're reviewing the rookie Jabal Soul Squad, the Modelo virus, with the 12th pick, first one on the turn. And you could tell it was a 12th pick because all the running backs were gone, all the top ones. He did get a B- from Yahoo, so bravo, got there as his first drafter in the LEG. That's kind of where I end right there. There's lots of question marks at wide receiver. I'm going to give him a C+ as well. I think this is again, if he can squeak in the 5 or the 6 spot, him and Abalash's team kind of remind me of each other. I think they're going to battle it out here at the end of the season to get that final spot. But I give them a C plus. What do you think?
I think like a C minus or a C flat for me. Just
C
a straight
flat.
C.
Oh,
So
which is a B.
the the biggest thing I like, so obviously picking 12th is probably one of the hardest things to do when you draft, just because you have to pick so quickly, the back-to-back picks, and that leaves you reaching very early, or if you don't plan on reaching, it's going to leave you exposed to not getting a lot of talent in a position, which is, I think, exactly what happened to him at wide receiver. No names stand out to me here that are overly consistent. Maybe Tyler Lockett, but I think DK Metcalf will continue to eat into those deep ball touches that he was getting. So I think Kenyon Drake and Austin Eckler. I love those two picks. Honestly, how Austin Eckler is going to get touches, through the air. Now Melvin Gordon's gone. I think he has shown he can be your 3-down back.
Yep.
And I think Kenyon Drake's revitalization in the desert is another positive as well, and just their utilization. It's why when I look at Abby's team, with the Joe Mixon pick going before these two backs, granted, new coach, new quarterback, new offensive system for Joe Mixon could influence him. But when I look at consistency, I look at how Kenyon Drake was used and Austin Eckler were used, and I like that a little bit better. And that's why I'm a little higher on that. Obviously, Austin Eckler was not even a starter, and he produced starting numbers,
Yep.
even as a guy that came off the bench at some, when Melvin Gordon did eventually return. So I really, really like these two guys. They're very good coming out of the backfield and catching the ball. And when you have a running back in a PPR league that can just get you catches on catches, quarterbacks love these guys. They're going to trust them a lot. You're going to see the ball in their hands a lot. And then they can make the first guy miss and get you extra stuff, or, scamper 60 yards to the house, like, Eckler and Drake have both done on screenplays. So love the value there on those guys. I think I kind of understand. So again, the difficulty of drafting the back-to-back. Tyler Lockett is essentially your best wide receiver on the roster. He has that chemistry with Russell Wilson. He is that deep threat. He can, do exactly what you would want, which is get touchdowns, essentially. The deep pass, the big chunk plays. How much does DK Metcalf cut into that?
Yeah.
I don't know. Does he at all? It's just tough to say. But that's kind of, the issue there. And again, DJ Chark is a very talented receiver. He showed chemistry with Gardner Minshew, but second-year quarterback. Everyone's seen Gardner Minshew now. Year 2, what do the defenses have prepared for him? Is he going to have the same impact? I always think, quarterback is easily the hardest position to transfer into from college to the NFL. And then I think the year 2, if they can survive year 1 playing as a starter, year 2, what does that look like? There's a lot of sophomore slumps that we've seen with very talented quarterbacks in the past, just because teams make those adjustments and kind of know their tendencies. So we'll have to see there, and that's what DJ Chark's going to rely on there. He went running back heavy, Melvin Gordon III and Antonio Gibson. So Antonio Gibson is the sleeper pick. Obviously, he is going to be the bell cow in Washington. That team is a dumpster fire, so whether or not that's heavily utilized, I just don't know much about Antonio Gibson, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
So, it's going to just be, for me, the effectiveness out of the backfield for Dwayne Haskins, just being that safety net for him there. We'll just kind of have to see what happens. I know they ran the ball a lot with AP while he was there. And, I just don't know if Antonio Gibson is anything like AP, so we'll have to see. And Melvin Gordon, Philip Lindsay has proven that he can be the guy there. I think Melvin Gordon just offers you more size, but I don't think you get any more utility out of Melvin Gordon that you didn't already have in Philip Lindsay. So just kind of curious how that shakes out. But again, the receiver core, you have Lockett, Chark, then you go down to Deebo Samuel, who was very up and down last year, and then T. Higgins, a rookie for Cincinnati. So you have A.J. Green and Tyler Boyd ahead of him. Is he going to see much of the field at all? At the first year, I don't know. I do like the project pick, but I just don't think there's anything reliable to draft project picks. You're just hoping that he pans out at that point. Solid starters on defense. I like the Chris Herndon pick at tight end. While he hasn't shown the consistency, if you look at the back half or the front half before and after, his suspension last year, so the 2 seasons ago and last season when he came up before he was hurt, he looked really good, had a lot of chemistry. One of the few that had chemistry with Sam Darnold. So I do like that pick. I think it's good value in the 13th. The consistency is going to be the issue there. O.J. Howard, again, a very talented tight end that is just can't catch a break. Now he's got Gronk to contend with touches there, and obviously we know the Brady-Gronk duo, does that break? I don't know. And then Tyler Eifert, I think, is a solid pickup as a last pick. Big target in the red zone for Gardner Minshew, but can he just stay healthy? I don't think
Abel's a Bengals fan. He's a Bengals fan. That's why he picked him.
Well, I mean, I don't hate the pick. I don't hate it. But it's just, can he play more than 8 games this year and build some kind of chemistry with Gardner Minshew? I mean, quarterbacks love big tight ends that are the safety blanket, red zone targets, reliable, which Tyler Eifert brings to the table. But he's also made of glass, so we'll just have to see on that. And it sucks. He lost, Von Miller, solid pickup. He's out for the year with that ankle injury, so he's going to have to find another pass rushing linebacker there. Defensively, I mean, I'm just excited to see what Chase Young does, even though he plays for Washington. The dude's a freak. So
absolutely,
I think the receiver position is the biggest question mark for me here. And it looks like he's just going to ride or die with the hometown pick, Joe Burrow. I think Tyrod Taylor is going to experience something similar. I think he was in Cleveland when he played over Baker for 5 games and then Baker took over. I think he's going to potentially experience the same thing in LA with Justin Herbert, especially if the Chargers don't perform well. So he's putting a lot of eggs in inconsistent baskets or unknown baskets at quarterback. Now, I am very high on Joe Burrow. He's a captain on the Cincinnati Bengals, which kind of just goes to show the respect that he's commanding out of that building and the confidence the organization has in him. But again, a rookie quarterback, you're in a pretty tough division. You got guys like, on the Browns, the Ravens, and the Steelers coming after you. A lot of talented pass rushers and defenses that he's going to have to contend with. So we'll have to see on that one. But, I think the inconsistency at wide receiver is going to drop this grade to a C- or a C for me.
Gotcha. All right. So, Austin, thank you so much for coming on. That was an in-depth analysis for all the draft grades. Clearly, we have an expert, finally, in this league on football. All right, real quick. We usually do the matchup previews. We're not going to have time for that. The game of the week definitely is me versus Plow as far as the projected points, how close it is. Who are you going to take? Real quick, me or Plow?
Let me see here. Well, the good news is Mike Evans is projected to play.
Yes.
So I think I'm going to take you to win it. I like your.
Oh, this just in. Breaking news. I actually get to do this. Mike Evans listed as questionable, now to doubtful.
Doubtful?
Doubtful.
I saw a little bit earlier today.
He was practicing. Now you got downgraded.
You got downgraded? Well, I guess. Well, that certainly doesn't help you, but I still think you've got a strong enough team. And McCaffrey, I think when all else fails for Carolina, they're just going to get the ball to him. So.
Absolutely. And Austin, who's your biggest, if you could think of 2 teams, who's your biggest threat to repeat this year? Looking at all the rosters. Who are you most afraid of?
Let's see. I would say, I think mixed team opposite of Adam Gase. I think that's got a really good chance to push for deep into the playoffs. I think we gave him an A.
Yep.
And his top 8 was incredible, and then he's got good depth to back it up. So I think that's one. And then, depending on how Shook can deploy his team, has a strong chance to do well. I like his depth. He's got really strong picks. Obviously, the tight end pick is the one that we dinged, but again, his wide receiver depth is really good. He's got the consistency there. He's got some solid running backs, at least in Saquon Barkley. And then you got the MVP Lamar Jackson on your team. If the dude can put up 50 points a game, then you're pretty solid. So
yeah, shocking. Surprising pick. Well, thank you, Austin, for coming on here. I appreciate it. Good
Yeah.
luck to you this week, sir. Thank you for coming on for this segment of the 2020 LEG Draft Grade.
Preview.
Well, there you have it. Thank you so much for watching, folks. Good luck to you all as the season begins. We should have more episodes this season since I work full-time from home and have nothing better to do. Except for kids. But anyways, thank you for watching. Thank you for Austin Stoll for coming up on doing the draft grades. Good luck to all of you this week. We'll see you next time on LEG TV.